What he's saying is, I am insecure about these people. And so if you react excited, nervous, tense, fearful to an insecure growl, you are going to make him.
For millions of people all across the world, Cesar Milan was the charming figure who was responsible for transforming misbehaving dogs into well-behaved companions that possessed powers that appeared to be miraculous. He became one of the most recognizable personalities in the field of pet training as a result of his show on National Geographic, which played the role of the dog whisperer and captivated audiences for almost a decade. However, a guy who was struggling with his own tremendous personal fights was hiding behind the calm and confident demeanor that he used to teach countless owners how to become powerful pack leaders. Today, we take a look at the horrific journey that Cesar Milan took after his divorce, a tale of treachery, loss, and subsequent redemption at the end of the tale. In a rare emotional interview, Cesar disclosed that he did not initially have feelings of anger. After blaming myself, I felt a profound sense of sadness that people can behave in such a manner. This raw set of words provides only a glimpse into the depths of misery that nearly led to the death of the well-liked dog trainer on television, a man who, ironically, had assisted a great number of others in achieving equilibrium, but who struggled to keep his own harmony. First, the rise that came before the fall. In order to comprehend Cesar's most difficult period, it is necessary to first comprehend his tremendous accomplishments. Cesar, who was born in a rural area of Mexico and lived in poverty, crossed the border with only $100 in his pocket and a dream. His first several years in the United States were not easy. Cesar disclosed in a recent interview that he took his first shower in the United States of America in a bathtub designed just for canines. I worked at a grooming shop when I was homeless, and when the ladies found out that I had nowhere else to go, they let me stay there so that I could get some rest. Nevertheless, Cesar was able to keep an incredible perspective in spite of all of these challenges. He emphasized that it is not difficult to survive in the streets. Simply put, I am a young man of 21 years old who has a dream. Due to the fact that I initially came from Sinaloa, I was able to figure it out. If I were able to make it through that, his optimistic outlook would be a result of perspective. Being born in Mexico, a country with a high rate of criminal activity, gives me an advantage over persons who were born in the United States. It is 1,000 times safer to be anywhere in the United States. As soon as you have a sense of security, you will discover that things are enjoyable. What some people might see to be a difficult situation, Cesar saw differently. Yes, that is something that people will view to be a difficulty. The other person chuckled and said, I saw myself more like a backpacker, and that was a hostel. Compared to the showers I have seen in other parts of the world, the bathtub was superior to the majority of them. Cesar's capacity to reframe challenging circumstances would go on to become one of his most significant abilities. If you know folks who are having a difficult time expressing gratitude, particularly if we are in the United States of America, you should just travel to other countries. He suggested that you take a week or perhaps 2 weeks and simply go to witness the happiness that may be found in poverty. Here is where you take a peek at that. Every aspect is relative. This tenacity and one-of-a-kind approach to canines quickly captured the attention of the Hollywood industry. Cesar established a multimedia empire based on his philosophy of calm, assertive energy, and within a few years, the dog whisperer became a sensation that was recognized all over the world. He displayed an almost miraculous capacity to speak with problematic animals, which resulted in his techniques resonating with millions of people who were battling with pets that were difficult to control. The second part, an ideal storm, a divorce, a betrayal in business, and a loss are all included. When Cesar was at the pinnacle of his success, he appeared to have everything: recognition on a global scale, abundant financial success, and a family life that appears to be filled with joy. On the other hand, everything was developing in a simultaneous manner behind the scenes. To begin, there was the divorce. Cesar has been very quiet about the specifics of the situation. Yet, the dissolution of his marriage caused him to experience a severe emotional toll at a time when he required assistance the most. In a shocking turn of events, the individual who had assisted a multitude of families in re-establishing harmony in their houses discovered that he was unable to restore the tranquility in his own home. Additional layers of pain and self-doubt were formed as a result of the mismatch between his public persona as a relationship expert, albeit with dogs, and his inner troubles. Following that, he was subjected to a horrific corporate betrayal that left him in utter disbelief. After devoting 10 years of his life to the development of the Dog Whisperer brand, Cesar came to the realization that his business associates were plotting to seize control of his empire. This included the rights to his name and the very title that brought him fame. According to Cesar, this is the time when I became aware of Hollywood and the legitimate means by which one might be dishonest. Ownership was the issue at hand. Despite the fact that I was supposed to be 50%, when it came time to honor it, they said that it was not written down. In addition to being a man of my word, I was also playing the game. They were not playing it legally, and it was evident that they were not playing it spiritually either. Due to the fact that they had been together for 10 years, the betrayal was particularly traumatic. As soon as you know their children and the relationship has been going on for 10 years, everything starts to feel more personal. My assumption was that faithfulness, honesty, and integrity were a given. The outcome was quite disastrous. Not only did Cesar lose control of key money streams, but he also came perilously close to losing the rights to his own name. The desire to have this was not the only thing they desired. They also desired to have that. Still in a state of astonishment, he stated that the thing in question did not belong to you. Over the course of many years, Cesar had always taken great satisfaction in his ability to do business with honesty and to honor verbal agreements. A plain and unambiguous mode of communication exists within the realm of canines. There is no covert purpose at play here. The realization that human connections might function with such a degree of deceit damaged his trust in both other people and in his own ability to make sound decisions. He thought of the fact that he encountered difficulties whenever he attempted to play an adult game, such as being married, being in a relationship, or being a businessman, and coming into contact with a greater number of individuals who did not adhere to the moral rule of honesty and loyalty. Therein lies the difficulty. I am the only person on the streets, thus it is simple for me to survive there. In the third and last part of this series, The Darkest Moment, Cesar was driven to his breaking point by the perfect storm that was generated by the combined weight of personal and professional loss. An admission made by Cesar that he had attempted suicide was a surprising discovery that left followers in a state of disbelief. Initially, I did not have any feelings of anger, and I did not even feel anger towards them. Cesar admitted that he sensed rage directed towards him. After blaming myself, I struggled to come to terms with the fact that others might behave in such a manner. For what reason would they violate the moral code? Without a doubt, no animal would ever be able to break that. As his feelings began to consume him, the downward spiral persisted. I felt a deep sense of melancholy, and then my instincts kicked in and I became furious. As soon as that happened, my heart began to believe that I did not deserve love. Well, if you cannot hurt them, then you should hurt yourself, my thinking stated at that moment. Take your own life if you are unable to murder them. His upbringing in Sinaloa, where retribution was sometimes seen as the only answer to betrayal, left him with a cultural imprint that nearly lost him everything he owned. The solemn explanation he provided was that it was my cultural belief. This belief, that retribution was the only way to respond to treachery, was something that he carried with him from his culture, and it came dangerously close to taking his life. The majority of people were unaware of the profound psychological impact that betrayal has. The human capacity for deception appeared to be especially difficult to accept for a man who had built his profession on the foundation of comprehending and honoring the natural order. Animals always act with the objective of accomplishing their goals. They never pretend to be something that they are not. Cesar, however, found that humans were capable of smiling while harboring evil intent simultaneously. In the midst of this turmoil, Cesar's mental and physical health both showed signs of deterioration. He experienced a significant weight loss, reaching a mere 102 pounds. His substance abuse began with the consumption of up to 12 Vicodin tablets on a daily basis, as well as the mixing of Red Bull with vodka. He was unable to maintain control of his addiction. Previously, the individual had been a model of equilibrium in terms of energy, but now he was utterly out of balance. Cesar understood the absurdity of the situation, since he had instructed millions of others on how to create calm, assertive energy, yet he was unable to find tranquility within himself. He had lectured dog owners all over the world about the need of maintaining a positive attitude and energy level, but it seemed hard for him to apply those lessons to his own life. Part 4. When it comes to the family. The repercussions of Cesar's collapse were felt by a far wider audience than just himself. At a time when maintaining a relationship with his family was of the utmost importance, he was separated from his 3 children, which was perhaps the most agonizing aspect of the situation. The problem he had with addiction not only caused him pain, but it also had a significant impact on the relationships he had with his children. The situation became so tense that Cesar and his children avoided communicating with one another for a period of 3 years. After some time had passed, His youngest daughter recounted the terrible incident, stating that she had the impression that her father had transformed into a different person. Just like a monstrous creature, she started to be troubled by the unpredictability of his energy, which was something that Cesar himself had instructed other people to learn how to handle in their dogs. As a result of the ongoing ambiguity around which version of her father would be revealed, she maintained a state of hypervigilance, keeping a close eye out for minor adjustments that indicated that his emotional state was worsening significantly. For a number of years, the family continued to be disjointed, and they failed to catch significant moments in each other's lives. Cesar's emotional crisis was further made worse by the sorrow of being separated from his family. Part 5. A Journey Towards Healing. When 2012 rolled around, the mental and physical toll had reached an intolerable level. The state of Cesar's health had worsened significantly, and those who were near to him were aware that if they did not intervene, the implications may be fatal. In September of 2012, he arrived at Cirque Lodge, a luxury center located in Utah, to begin his rehabilitation process. It was a critical step towards recovery that would ultimately save his life, despite the fact that it was the most expensive option at $150,000 per month. Nevertheless, abstinence was not the only requirement for genuine healing. His perspective on business, relationships, and his own sense of self-worth needed to be completely reevaluated as a result of this. The man who had spent his entire professional life instructing people on how to keep their energy levels in check was now faced with the situation of having to apply those ideas to his own life in the most difficult of circumstances. According to Cesar's reflections, when you are confronted with genuine obstacles, they either destroy you or develop you. They heighten your awareness of the things that are actually important. The most important thing is that Cesar did not become bitter, which is a choice that many people in his position would consider to be impossible. It is one thing to take your money, but it is another thing entirely to take your energy, which is something that you also provide to them. It is a blessing from God that I did not waste that energy. The mood of the music changes to one that is more upbeat, and then the time arrived when everything started to change. Cesar started putting the precise principles that he had taught about the rehabilitation of dogs into practice for his own recovery to begin with. For the same reason that he had always emphasized that dog owners must first acquire a peaceful and balanced condition before attempting to rectify the behavior of their pet, he now focused on restoring his own internal equilibrium before attempting to rebuild his external world. The mending process also encompassed his connections with his family members. On November 12, 2015, his younger daughter, who had recently finished her own rehabilitation for substance abuse and an eating disorder, reached out to him for the first time in nearly 3 years. This marked the beginning of the process of reconciliation between the man and his daughter. These connections were difficult to re-establish. It took significant treatment and counseling for the family over the course of 18 months. They were able to make tremendous progress in their emotional healing by spending a week together at a retreat in Arizona in 2017. During that time, they meditated and engaged in physical activities. During the course of this process, Cesar was forced to confront the ways in which his efforts had impacted the people he loved the most. For the same reason that he had instructed dog owners to take responsibility for the activities of their pets, he was now required to accept full responsibility for the consequences that his actions had brought upon his family. In order to accomplish this, he needed to demonstrate a level of humility and vulnerability that was beyond anything he had ever experienced before. The sixth part. This is the response from the public. The huge amount of support that was shown to Cesar after the news of his problems eventually got public was amazing. The fans who had benefited from his dog training tactics for years came together to show their support for him by sending him words of love and encouragement. A supporter expressed their frustration by writing, "I feel anger at the thought of anyone ripping Cesar off, stressing him out, and leaving him feeling hopeless for the future. Take a step back, Cesar, stronger than ever, and be aware that you are cherished and admired by a great number of people. A new beginning, a phoenix rising from the ashes." A different person made the observation that, in my opinion, Cesar Milan will forever be the dog whisperer. Never in my life would I say anything unfavorable about this individual. I am a dog groomer myself, and what he says is in agreement with what I have discovered about people and their pets via my own personal experience. His character is honest. However, the mending process takes time. Additionally, there are instances when the most potent medicine is found in the most unexpected areas. While Cesar was going through his most difficult times, the personal stories that fans shared with him became a source of strength and meaning for him. Particularly moving were the personal experiences that were shared. "I found out about Cesar while I was in the United Kingdom visiting my relatives during the Olympic Games," said one woman. "Even though he was shooting stuff on the street, we were able to identify him. Photos were taken with him by all of us. I was going through a difficult time in my life, and I was fighting on the inside. As we were saying our goodbyes to him, he yelled out to me, "Smile, girl," as we were walking away. Never in my life will I forget that. It seemed as if he had actually seen me, despite the fact that we had only spoken for a few minutes. A number of individuals related incidents that demonstrated his personality when he was not being filmed. Cesar was seen going shopping in a store by us. While I was standing in the back, I observed him. Everyone, regardless of their appearance, was treated with such kindness and respect by him. He was really respectful. He made a covert payment for someone who was unable to pay their financial obligations. Because he did not want the individual to know, he did it in a very stealthy manner. When we witnessed it, we remained silent about it. To put it simply, he is the epitome of a gentleman. Cesar's influence extended beyond the realm of pet training and into the realm of life development for some. When I was a kid, I used to run away from the dogs in the neighborhood. As a result, I detested dogs and believed that they were animals devoid of intelligence. As a matter of fact, I watched his programs and I was blown away. I recently acquired a Rottweiler puppy as well as an English Bulldog puppy. In the beginning, I trained myself using Cesar's many ways. I came to the realization that dogs are both beautiful and intelligent. Our group evolved into a well-behaved unit. What I learned was how they think. My life was radically transformed as a result, and I owe him a great deal for that. Perhaps most significant was the fact that his openness about the challenges he had with his mental health struck a chord with people who were going through similar issues. I, too, have struggled with suicidal thoughts. Hearing about the challenges faced by another man that I admire is very meaningful to me. I am grateful to you. These testimonies provided confirmation of what many people had always suspected, that Cesar's capacity to connect extended far beyond dogs and touched human hearts as well, and that his genuineness in sharing his darkest moments gave healing not just for himself, but also for numerous others who were going through hardships that were comparable to his own. The seventh part, both the comeback and the new perspective. Cesar Milan is now in a position to rebuild his life and profession according to his own expectations. Despite the fact that the voyage was fraught with difficulty, he emerged with fresh insights regarding business, relationships, and his own perceived value. According to Cesar, I needed to get back in touch with my true self. I was compelled to reevaluate my fundamental principles and begin the process of rebuilding from there. Despite the fact that I had lost a great deal, I discovered that my identity had not been altered in any way. During the course of his recuperation, Cesar came to realize that his genuine self, the link to his instincts and spirit that made him effective with dogs in the first place, remained unshakable. This was despite the fact that his worldly things and even his professional credentials might be taken away. People who were going through similar circumstances found inspiration in his resiliency. I have reached the lowest point in my mental state that I have ever been in my entire life, as stated by one of my fans. Since Cesar first appeared on public television, I have been a watcher of his show. When I saw him going through anything like this, it immediately sparked my mental health problems. But witnessing him emerge from the experience stronger has in fact provided me with the confidence to carry on, not only for the sake of my dog, but also for my own sake. The manner in which Cesar approaches relationships has likewise undergone significant change. As is the case with many people who have been through significant personal storms, he has arrived at the realization that the relationship you have with yourself is the most essential relationship you can have. This attitude of self-reliance, which places an emphasis on personal growth and satisfaction, has become an essential component of Cesar's new perspective on life. He believes that in order to feel whole, one does not require validation from others. Final thoughts. The takeaway for everyone. Everyone can learn valuable lessons from Cesar Milan's journey, which began with him in the depths of despair and ended with him finding renewed purpose. It serves as a reminder that even individuals who appear to be the most self-assured and successful are actually struggling with their own issues behind closed doors. What is more important is that it exemplifies the remarkable resilience of the human spirit when we refuse to let treachery and grief define who we are. Cesar made the astute observation that you either learn to be the warrior or the victim along the way. Cesar was able to successfully reconstruct his own life by adhering to the concepts that made him successful with dogs. These principles included keeping a calm and forceful spirit, living in the present moment, and creating clear boundaries. In essence, the instructor turned into his own pupil, and he sought to heal himself by utilizing the knowledge that he had imparted to millions of people. This voyage that comes full circle highlights a significant reality. Sometimes the very medicine that we require is included inside the insights that we share with other people. There is more to Cesar's story than just a dog trainer who got stranded in the wilderness. As the story progresses, we learn about a human being who came to the realization that the essential ideas of balance, boundaries, and honest living are applicable to people just as much as they are to animals. It was maybe best summed up by one of the fans: "It is a difficult world to manage for someone who is an empath." However, Cesar was able to navigate it, and as a result, he was able to find his way back to the light and inspire others to do the same. As a warrior, the dog whisperer made the decision to be, specifically for himself, not simply for the dogs. Cesar has always been and will continue to be known as the dog whisperer, as one of his fans wrote with simple eloquence. "No business, attorney, or scumbag will ever be able to take that away from you. Stay strong, Cesar. The entire world is rooting for you." Cesar Milan has demonstrated that the ideas he taught about dogs, such as calm, assertive energy, living in the now, and pack leadership, are also applicable to the human journey of overcoming life's most severe obstacles. He has demonstrated this by his incredible journey of loss, betrayal, and eventually rejuvenation. It is possible that the most important thing that we can learn from Cesar's story is that true strength is not determined by never falling, but rather by rising up each time we fall, also assisting others in ascending alongside us. As Cesar Milan continues his work with both humans and animals, he serves as a living example of the resiliency of the human spirit and the transformative effect of having a purpose in life.